Welcome back to Proving God Without the Bible. This is video number 4, which means there were 3 videos prior to this one. In video 1, I made the claim that God is real, and we can make a very strong argument for His existence using reason, logic, and the evaluation of scientific data. In video 2, I gave you a rule and a tool with which to evaluate my claims. The rule was that truth exists and we can know truth. The tool was something called a logical argument. If you need more information on either of those, please go back to video number 2. In video 3, I gave you the first proof of God, which says that the universe had a beginning, and anything that has a beginning has a cause, and I believe that cause to be God. And in this video, I give you the second proof of God, which says that anytime you see complex design, you can infer a designer. The universe shows extreme complexity in its design, therefore the universe was designed. Before I go any further, I want to remind you of a movie that came out a number of years back called Apollo 13. And in this movie, 3 astronauts have just blasted off from the Earth, their mission to land on the moon. Shortly after takeoff, they had a problem. One of their oxygen tanks blew up. And this is a serious problem because you don't take extra oxygen to the moon. So their mission quickly changed from trying to land on the moon to getting back to the Earth alive. They had very little oxygen, very little electricity, very little heat, but they had just enough of each one of these life-sustaining conditions to get back to the Earth alive. Our Earth is very similar to this Apollo 13 capsule in that we are a tiny oasis of life in a vast and hostile universe. And we have around our planet a number of conditions that are finely tuned to allow life to exist on our planet. There are 122 identified to date, and they're called anthropic constants. And I'd like to give you an example of 5 of those. Oxygen has to be right around 21% of our atmosphere. If it goes any higher than that, we would have spontaneous fires all over the place. If it goes lower than that, we would suffocate. Transparency of our atmosphere is finely tuned. If it becomes more transparent, solar radiation would kill us. If it becomes less transparent, we would freeze to death. Our Earth-Moon gravitational force. We have a very unique gravitational force between our Earth and our Moon, and it's set at exactly the right level. If the gravity becomes stronger, our oceans come out of their boundaries and we would drown. If it becomes less, we have huge climate changes that would kill us. CO2 levels have to be set at exactly the right level. We hear about it in the news all the time now. If it goes too high, we have what's called global warming. If it goes too low, though, however, plants cannot make food, they die, then we die. Gravity, if it changes by the smallest amount, 10 to the minus 37th power, our sun would no longer exist. These are 5 of 122 conditions identified to date that allow life to exist on our planet. Hugh Ross, astrophysicist, former atheist, now pastor based on the evidence, calculated the probability of all 122 conditionings happening by chance at 10 to the 138th power. Numbers like this have very little meaning to us unless we have a reference point. So what I did is I bought a ticket to the Texas $114 million Mega Millions lottery. And on the back of my ticket was the probability of winning at 1 in 175 million. If you round that to 1 times 10 to the 9th, and you take that into the probability of all these conditions happening by chance, you would have to win the lottery by chance. Then you'd have to enter and win again a second time. You'd have to enter and win again a third time by chance. At this point, the police are probably stepping in to arrest you because they know it's beyond the realm of probability. But if they allow you to keep playing, you would have to enter and win again. You'd have to enter and win again. You'd have to enter and win again 15 times in a row. To give you another example of the complexity we're talking about, it would be like 2 astronauts landing on Mars. They're in their spacesuits because they're in a hostile space environment, and they see a biosphere off into the distance. And they go inside and it's perfectly set up for life. And there's 122 machines that are set up, and they have giant dials on the front of them. And on each dial, rather than calibrated 1 to 100, they're calibrated 1 to a trillion. And each one sit on exactly the right level for life to exist in the biosphere. And the one astronaut looks at the other one and says, "How do you think this got here?" And the other astronaut says, "Well, I think it just happened by random chance." That's how absurd it is to say that all these conditions around our Earth just got here by chance. I would like to read a quote to you. Nobel laureate Arnold Penzias, co-discoverer of the radiation afterglow, put it this way: Astronomy leads us to a unique event, a universe which was created out of nothing and delicately balanced to provide exactly the conditions required to support life. In the absence of an absurdly improbable accident, the observations of modern science seem to suggest an underlying, one might say, supernatural plan. Again, the proof goes like this. Whenever you see complex design, you can infer a designer. Our universe shows extreme complexity in its design. Therefore, the universe was designed, and I believe that designer to be God. We're now ready for the third and final proof of God. I hope you watch the next video.